Are you on there, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm here. No snow here, though.
All right, so Blog Talk Radio is going crazy on me here. I don't know. It's they have abbreviated their time, so I think we got about 20 minutes. What I want to talk to you about tonight is Mid-South Wrestling. We had a great episode last week talking about Aussie Wrestling. 3 great emails from Australia, people saying how much they loved the program last week. And as we mentioned last week, the ones that live longest write history, and that seems to be being done right now about the rich history of Mid-South Wrestling, the Louisiana Territory, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, parts of Mississippi, and parts of Texas. And Bill Dundee was the booker there for 2 years, and it was happened to be the best 2 years that they ever had in all the years that they were in business. And there's a recent DVD that was put out by the WWE, and there was no mention of Bill Dundee or his behind the scenes work that he did there. And the credit was given to a lot of the wrong people for a lot of great stuff they did there. And I want to talk to Bill. For the ones that don't know, Bill was wrestling in Memphis. At the end of '83, Bill Watts came to Memphis, made a deal with Jerry Jarrett for Bill to go to Louisiana to become the booker. They traded some talent. Bill went off to Mid-South with Dennis Condrey, Bobby Eaton, and Jim Cornette, who he put together as the Midnight Express. He took Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express, Buddy Landale, Bobby Fulton, who he later would make fantastic, and several other guys. And then on the trade that went to Memphis was Rick Rude, King Kong Bundy, and I believe that's really the only 2 guys that ever came out of that end that was good business for Jerry Jarrett on that end. But, Bill, does it bother you that you do not get the credit that you deserve for the 2 years that you booked there, 84 and 85?
I wouldn't say the word bothers you. I mean, does it the kind of do you think, well, that's bullshit? The main thing when I hear it or see it, it's like bullshit. I go a TV, well, I guess you would call it script now. We just call it writing TV back then. 1-4-83, Shreveport, Tennessee. And it's all about Terry Taylor, who else? Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Larry Higgins, Wrestling 1 and 2, Magnum TA. You know, so all George Weindorf, Leaping Lammy Popo, the Midnight Express. This is all on this tape. So, and I wrote it. So, I mean, it just tells you that what we did and what we didn't do. And that was the first one I did, 1-4-83. So it kind of miffs you, but I understand what they're doing. It's all about money, and Vince don't want to pay anybody that he don't have to. But a lot of the credit Bill Watts got credit for, he never did. I did it and took it down to him. It was his TV. I understand that. He was paying me to do good stuff for him. I did that, but in a good crew. So, yeah, you know, it just miffs you mainly.
and the thing, too, we both of us have a respect for Bill Watts as a wrestler, as a promoter. I mean, that was a guy that a lot of people said was hard to work for, but a lot of people made a lot of money there working for him there. And, you know, I have seen interviews with Bill Watts where he has give all the credit in the world to Bill Dundee for what you did there, those 2 years that you were there. But I believe the WWE doesn't want to give you any credit for that. And, you know, there was a lot of things that I saw the 3 DVD set. Someone let us watch it, and we watched it. And you know, there was just things that were wrong in there. One, they talked about Junkyard Dog, saying he was created in Louisiana when he was here with Norvell Austin in Knoxville, East Tennessee, in '77 as the Junkyard Dog. He had wrestled a few other places, but, yeah, he was the big star. That is where he got over and became the main event star in Louisiana. But there was no mention of the angle with them and with Michael Hayes and the Junkyard Dog. Went to the Superdome, drew a huge crowd. There was another clip that they showed on the DVD where it was Buddy Landale, Butcher Reed, Tar and Feather, Junkyard Dog in Memphis, and they didn't even give the credit to the right TV station on the DVD. They didn't even say it was WMC Channel 5. They give the credit to Channel 13 across town. And I mean, just little things like that where they try to rewrite history, it bothers me. And there was matches from Houston where they said we're in the Superdome, and they had Jim Ross put new voiceovers on it, and I don't understand all that, but, you know, Mid-South was a great place, just like just about every other territory that ran, and there was a lot of money there, and there was a lot of hard-working guys, but, Bill, you took something there, and I want to just explain a little bit how you changed the philosophy of the Mid-South territory when you took the book.
Well, he came up, like you said, Jerry Jarrett invited him up here, and they were going to swap talent. But the first thing he said, I'm looking for a booker. So Jerry Jarrett, you know how me and Lawler was here. Lawler was the man, and I fitted into being the second man. I mean, the superstar and the king, that's what it was, or the king and the superstar. But I knew that he was part of the office, and you're not getting over him. So I was quite happy to be a notch below him or alongside him, whatever you want to call it. But so anyway, Jarrett knew how we was. We'd get kind of miffed at one another sometimes, and he said, so he said, talk to Dundee. If he goes down there, he'll do a good job for you. So he came and talked to me. He brought me down there for a week. The next week he says, can you be in Houston? I said, yes. So he flew me down there. He said, don't tell nobody who you are, what you're doing. Just walk around and take a look at the talent. So I did that. The only baby face on the card that I saw, and they beat him to death, was Magnum TA. So anyway, we come back, and then he flew me back up to talk to him, and he said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, we can make it work, but we have to change the crew. He said, okay, who do you want? So he was allowed to pick. No, Jerry Jarrett says we stole it, but we didn't. We got Jerry Jarrett's blessing to take the Rock and Roll Express, Buddy Landau, me, Dutch Mantell, and everybody that went down there, we got the blessing, because he had other people here, was more over here. So yeah. We took the rock and roll down there, and off we went. First TV in, the first house I did for him was their show in Little Rock at the Barton Coliseum. House was $10,000. The next one was 3 shows that we had done, my shows, with the Rock and Roll Express, and it was $51,000, and it stayed like that from then on. So anyway, back to the story. He says he had Barry Darso and Volkov as the Russians. So we do the thing, and he said, well, what are you going to do in this match? I said, well, fucking beat the Russians. What do you think we're going to do? Put the belts on their little guys. He went, well, okay, because Watts didn't like little guys. You know how he was.
That was a big man territory before you got there.
Yeah, and they'd never seen it. So anyway, double drop kick on the Russian. Down he goes. They cover him 1, 2, 3, and the place exploded. And from then on, it was just sell-out business with them. And then they worked with the Midnight Express. So we used the Russians to get them over, but they'd been there for a year. So anyway, it worked.
Yeah. Another thing, and I've seen, documentaries that were done and other interviews and whatnot, but people would like to also talk about the crew that went into Charlotte in '85, which was the same crew that you had, pretty much. Magnum TA, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Buddy Landau, this Dutch Mantell went. Eventually you went. But, they talk about all these great matches and these great angles, and one of them that is talked about to death about Starrcade as we're thinking about Thanksgiving, Starrcade '86, the Night of the Skywalkers. But people don't realize that, Jerry Jarrett had the first one, but you took it to what it was. Jerry Jarrett was on a ladder in a few 2x4s or something, 12 feet above the ring. You and Dutch and you and Coco, you guys went 20 feet above the ring you on a real scaffold, and then you took it to Louisiana, and Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express drew huge crowds, even in the Superdome, huge crowd with that match. And I think that's another thing that you do not get enough credit for. And also, all that whole crew. I mean, there was so much that Dusty Rhodes did in Charlotte and Atlanta that he just he touched it up a little bit, but it was all Bill Dundee. The straitjacket, where they put Ricky put Robert in a straitjacket and they jumped him. They did it a few years later on Atlanta TV with the Fantastics instead of the Rock and Roll Express. But you lit a fire because you took Tennessee wrestling somewhere that they had never seen it.
Right. And here, let me tell you a funny story about that. Ric Flair was the world's champion there, and Watts would bring him into the Superdome show, big show, or in Oklahoma, big show, wherever. So we were there one day, and Flair was coming in and going out and coming in and going out. So we're at the Superdome one day, and fucking Jimmy Crockett's walking behind Flair. So Watts says, what do you think this Jimmy Crockett's doing here? I said, well, I'll tell you what he's doing here. He's come here to steal your talent. He said, no, Jimmy. I said, I'm telling you. He knows how the Rock and Roll are. He knows how Magnum TA is. They're all over here like son of a bitch. And Dusty wouldn't use Magnum TA when he was down there booking him in Florida. He just a kid starting there. But we got him here and got him over. And Magnum was coming along So anyway, Dusty got him to go over. He got the rock and roll to go over, but he didn't know they were here until Flair was going back telling him Louisiana's on fire.
Yeah. And the thing is, I give another thing credit. You know, when rock and roll left, you came right behind them with Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers, the Fantastics. You just kind of redid the Fabulous Ones and took it to Louisiana with your own guys. But you did that in Chattanooga before, which was a disaster. We talked about that before for Ole. But you kept the ball rolling. What, like you said, the house when you first got there were about $10,000, and within a month you were doing $50,000 houses. You know,
yeah.
That Bill Watts was no dummy. He was smart enough to realize, hey, maybe I don't like this, but this is making money. And he got with the program and let you roll with what you were doing. And, you know, just you took business to a whole new level in that area. Going into the TV started expanding. You guys went on TBS for a little bit.
He come to me one day and he says, you ain't going to fill this place up with midgets, are you? I said, if you're talking about a guy of my size that can work, yeah, I'm going to. You know, and he just kind of laughed, but that was a thing between me and him. But anyway, yeah, he was all about the big guys, but the big guys were dead on their ass by the time we got down there. And he was certain when he came up to Tennessee and got a new crew in me.
Yeah. So was it hard for the boys that went from Tennessee down there, because you know Memphis had some long trips, but most everybody lived around Nashville, so you were kind of in the middle of everything. To where you went to Louisiana, say Memphis, you would do what? Probably 2,500 miles a week, 3,000 miles. To where Louisiana, you could have been doing 5,000 miles a week.
Yeah, I mean they were driving all the way from Tulsa back down to Houston, Texas. And everything in between. I mean, they drove, and Grizzly Smith, my God, he put 1 million miles a year on his car.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable driving. Now, he flew me, and he flew some of the top guys. You would fly from New Orleans up to Oklahoma City and Tulsa on the weekend, and they'd rent a car and drive you around, and then you'd fly back into New Orleans and get your car. But, yeah it was a lot of miles, brother, and a lot of hard miles. Hell, you did. And on the summertime there, you worked an afternoon show. So you did an afternoon show, some spot show on the way to the big town. So you'd work twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, 4 TVs every second Wednesday, and all the other days of the week. So, yeah, it was a hard territory, brother. He paid you, but you earned it.
And people that don't travel and not on the road, they don't realize how mentally draining, not just physically draining, but how mentally draining it is to be on a road like that and make those kind of trips. And you know, the one thing I've always heard about Louisiana at the time when Mid-South was running, Bill Watts was running, no interstates. It was just pretty much all 2-lane roads.
Yeah, it was east and west or something. There was one going down to Texas way, but if you were going the other way, east and west or north and south, whatever way it was, they were all 2-lane roads. But yeah, it was brutal, brother. I don't know why half the guys never got killed. I swear I don't.
Yeah, I've said that many times about a lot of other territories. You know, more guys weren't killed in car wrecks or killed other people in car wrecks. You know. So how was your? You really didn't change your philosophy from Tennessee to Louisiana. You just had to sell it to the office, but it was an easy sell once they saw success.
Yeah. And here's the things, and I've always believed this, and it was the same thing here, the same deal, and Jerry Jarrett did too. If you get the little girls watching your TV and they think, oh, God, that boy's cute, and they come to the wrestling matches, the little boys will be at the wrestling match. I don't mean little in that sense. I mean the young guys, like the young women and the guys, they'll be there. So if there's girls there, it's like going to a bar. If there's a lot of girls go to the bar, there'll be a lot of boys at the bar. So when you got the girls that fall in love with Ricky and Robert and the Magnum TAs and all them guys, you know, it was easy, and then the guys would come. So there was as many women coming in Louisiana in them 2 years as there was guys.
Well, was there any women at the matches when you got there at the end of '83?
Yeah, there was a couple of big ladies hanging around the back door, and that was about it. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, So I mean, it was a whole new, not just the wrestling landscape changed, but the audience changed. The people buying tickets, and I can remember, hearing Ricky and Robert talk about when you and Watch put them on the bus and took them around Louisiana, which was another thing that Dusty did in Charlotte. But that people had camped out to buy tickets for wrestling matches, and that was unheard of at the time.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm telling you, they were like rock stars, them two boys down there. They were, Bill Watts was a baby face, Dusty Rhodes was a baby face, Dickie Murdoch was a baby face. Doug, that was the kind of baby face. They don't look like baby faces. They're still monsters. They may say they're good guys, but they're not baby faces like Ricky and Robert were. They'd never seen nothing like that in Louisiana.
Especially when they have two big, bald, mean Russians beating on, a Ricky Morton who looked like he was 15 years old. Yeah, and good work. And it was just a whole different era. It was, and then we did all the gimmick matches, the scaffold, the damn bull rope. Well, they've seen the bull rope and the chain matches, which JYD did them. But we did every other kind of gimmick match we could have, tarring feathers and everything else. But it worked. Putting Cornette in a straight jacket and raising him above the ring, and shaving Jimmy's head, and the clippers wouldn't work. They had to use the razor on him in the middle of the ring. Oh yeah, we did all that kind of stuff. You know how it was. Yeah. So, but Watts was a good student, just like you said. I mean, he may not have liked it all, and he may not have liked the shit that sometimes we suggested, because we'd have a booking meeting in the hotel in the Holiday Inn Hotel in Shreveport, and there would be Joe Watts, Jim Ross, Bill Watts, and Bill Dundee, because they were the two announcers, and they were allowed to say stuff like, want to say aloud. Bill would say, well, what do you think? And they would give their opinion, do whatever, but, maybe I shouldn't say this on this. Well, hell with it. So anyway, they would go off and smoke a little bowl of wacky tobacco, then come back to the room, and they'd be giggling, both of them. The kid and JR would both be zonked to the gills, and they'd get the fucking giggles, and watch it. Why are you laughing? But it wasn't like he didn't know what pot was, because he used to tell me he smoked it back in the day, too. But anyway, but they would get the giggles, and we'd say shit, and they'd come up with all kinds of, but it grew, and the combination was good, so, I mean. Yeah, it was, the one thing about the DVD WWE put out was that you get to see a glimpse of it. I mean, it doesn't tell the full story, it doesn't tell everything, but if you watch the action, there's one match with Butch Reed and Junkyard Dog in Houston that they show. They claim it was in New Orleans, but it was in Houston. But the emotions with the people, Ernie Ladd gets involved, Sonny King gets involved, but the emotion with the fans. And if that match was to happen now, all you would hear was the internet fans and the sheet writers and everything else talking about how bad it was, and they this, that, and everything else. But who cares? You built that for the people that bought tickets, the emotions of the people. And that was one thing that Tennessee always could do. People have always knocked Tennessee about, it was this, that, and ever, but they knew the audience. And when you went to Louisiana, you were able to read that audience the same way and give them the same kind of stuff. And they had never seen it. They had never been touched like that before. Right, and even if you're in a bar and two guys get into a fight, if there's a big guy and a smaller guy, you will just automatically pull for the little guy. Just get up and kick his ass. That's just a natural reaction. So if you have cute little baby-faced wrestlers getting beat up by big guys like Hacksaw Butch Reed or the damn Russians or all, they don't have to do much, just sell. And both of them boys could sell. And then they make the comeback, you go home, and it's all she wrote. Yeah. This business ain't hard, though, as you know. No, it's not hard. They've just made it hard. Now, how hard was the sell job to watch to say, hey, we've got to get Junkyard Dog out of here because we got to build you can't get the new pup over if the old dog's still roaming the yard. Right. So how hard was it to get him out of there? Well, he kind of knew it, and he let him go like a couple of times before, because remember when he did the Stagger Lee gimmick? Yeah. Well, Watts had done that with him before, so we kind of knew that part and let him go and then bring him back as Stagger Lee, and he draws when he comes back as Stagger Lee, and then we bring him back to JYD. So
it wasn't really that hard to sell it because he knew. I mean, that was his star before we got there, and he wasn't drawn. He needed a rest.
Yeah. And you look at all the guys, as I said, earlier, that started there. I mean, Ricky and Robert was a great team from day one. But in Tennessee, they weren't going to get over the Fabs. They weren't going to get over Lawler and Dundee. So they were just sitting there in the middle.
Right.
They had great matches with the Bruise Brothers and the Galaxians and everybody else that they worked with. Same thing with Bobby Eaton. Bobby had a great run with Coco, but he was kind of just stale sitting there in Memphis. Dennis Condrey, stale. Jimmy was new. So, I mean, their time to shine, their first main event times were in Louisiana, which led to look at how long they lasted once they went to Atlanta. Even through the Turner sale, they were still there. I mean, they had a tremendous 10-year run off of what started in Louisiana.
Right, and they were better workers than Stan and Steve. Stan and Steve technically couldn't hold a candle to Ricky and Robert. I'm talking working-wise now. I'm not talking Steve being a half shoot. I'm talking just strictly working. They were nothing as good as them two boys.
Yeah.
But they were, because that was supposed to be the deal. If we take Ricky and Robert and, they get over and do their thing, we didn't know they were going to be on fire. We had an idea it would be great. And then we was going to get the Fabs after, whatever way, swap them back. But that never happened because, the Fabs ended up leaving up there by themselves, and Ricky and Robert were on fire. And then they went to Crockett on the deal.
Well, no, when you left, was it you wanted to leave, or did Watts want to keep you there, and you just wanted to come back home to Tennessee, or what made you leave when you left towards the end of '85?
All right. Everybody knows that Bobby Eaton was married to my daughter, and when they went to Dallas, and then they were going over to Charlotte, and then Dustin, they just had the new baby. Well, you know how grandmas are.
Yeah.
So Beverly said to me, "Why don't you go over there with Crockett? They're all leaving. Everybody's leaving. They're all, and all. You know how it goes." And so, well, I don't want to go to Crockett. I like it here. So anyway, that was a kind of the pressure there type thing. And me being the nice, compassionate man I am, I thought, we'll go over to Charlotte with the family, right? Yeah. Anyway, another story. But so that's a kind of how we went. And then the word, all the talent had left, type thing, and it was just, to come in, and Terry Taylor and, and Eddie Gilbert got the book, and both the Mantels got it back, and so it just, when I left, I still the book when I was there, but so anyway, I left, and that's what they did, and 6 months it was out of business.
Hey, about a year. It was close in because they changed the name to UWF, and they lasted through '86. First part of '87, I guess it was. They sold to Crockett, and but do you think? I mean, we know that the whole business, the whole landscape of the economy changed in Louisiana and parts of Texas and Oklahoma shortly after you left. But do you think if you would have stayed there booking, if you would have had the same crew stay, could you survived? Or do you think it was just one of those situations where all good things must come to an end?
No, if we'd had the same crew, was allowed to go down with it. When Bill Watts came back and made the comeback with it, when we went JYD, with the Stagger Lee, we brought him back with Bill Watts teaming up to fight the Midnight. When they're done with you, you got to go. We had to get Bobby and Dennis and Jimmy out of here. I mean, Watts kills you. There is no other way that you. So the heels that we had after that, I can't really remember who the next heel team was, but anyway, I was leaving anyway, so I wasn't really kind of interested. But you didn't have the Midnight Express and Jimmy Cornette as your heels. I don't know who the heels were back then, but Buddy was leaving, so everybody hot was leaving.
Right, and it was time to move.
Yeah.
And you came back. It wasn't long. Even after coming back to Tennessee, it wasn't long before you took your. You did end up going to Charlotte, and it just seemed like at that point in time, some of the territories had already shut down. Kansas City was already gone. It went in '86, and Florida was on its last leg. But it just kind of seems like, being a fan, of wrestling and studying all these years, when that Mid-South territory went, that was really the realization to everybody that, man, it's over. You know, it's changing. Everything's going national, and it's never going to be what it was.
Right, and Vince McMahon was a very smart guy. You don't have to hire everybody. He just hired the stars. The reason Memphis stayed so long, because Lawler stayed longer than any other star that had been there, the territory. So he was the last one ready to go over to Vince. And he used to get on TV and say, I'll never go over to Vince McMahon. They're all Mickey Mouse. They're this, they're that. Well, the reason he never went, they hadn't called him. But when they did, he went.
He sure did. He was on the first thing smoking.
Yeah, so it's not like we're saying nothing out of school. It was just how it was. Yeah. I had left and went to Charlotte and went to do, down to Ted Turner's. I was down there and then came back here, then went back again and all that kind of thing. But, yeah, when Lawler went to WWF, and he's very good at what he does. I mean, he's a hell of an announcer.
He sure is.
It's hard to replace him there.
He's the king.